show us the edge. The chip on the shoulders, the fight and the passion that comes from within. Whoa. Try to win on every level. Yeah. Expectations high. Gotta show them you can fly. Play harder, better, smarter. Baby, put the league on notice. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah. Whoa, done seen the walk of shame enough. Wanna see the walk of winning, time to come up and bring out the alpha. Don't every play, every possession. How bad you want it, love, do you want it all? This ain't a blood of love, built for something greater. Attacking all obstacles, coming for the ring, my precious. You got the juice, the will, the heart, the fire. Show them the proof, show them that it shall be done. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah.
You're listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for being in this installment of the Pelican Postgame Report for all things Pelicans. We up in this thing. Man, listen, the Pelicans lose to the Miami Heat, man, in the matchup. And boy, oh boy, what a trash affair this was officiated. This was one of the most horrible officiated games that I've seen in a very long time pertaining to the Pelicans. This was phenomenally terribly and criminal. I don't understand how these referees are being paid, but this is not incompetence. This, to me, is corruption and criminal level officiating, where this whole incident was facilitated by the fact that these bastard referees refused to make the proper calls that they are supposed to be paid to make. So in the game, a lot of chippiness in the matchup. Pelicans go down. Now, listen. There's a lot of fault to be thrown around in this matchup, but listen, this was terrible, man. This was a poorly officiated game. This was freaking awful, man. This is laughable, man. This is tragic level officiating by the NFL. They stink too, but the NBA is just as terrible and stinking and corrupt as anything. This made no sense tonight. And even before family members, y'all know that I'm a fundamental dude. I like talking about stuff that should be done in terms of with the Pelicans, the mistakes that were made. Even if the Pelicans did hit all of their foul shots, they still would have lost this game. This was awful. The Pelicans had 13 attempts from the foul line tonight in their own damn building versus 25 by the Miami Heat. Terrible. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Much love to the fam. We in this thing. This was awful, man. This was awful. This is one of the most terrible officiated games in recent memory. And we've seen quite a bunch of them this season. But I don't know what you're supposed to do with this level of stupidity by these referees. I mean, Jordan Hawkins taking 3-point shots, the guy literally running to the bottom of his legs, not even giving them opportunity to land. That's not a foul. Jonas getting climbed on, his back climbed on by Bam, and on the dunk. That wasn't a foul. I don't know what's going on with this stuff nowadays. This is totally awful, man. Totally awful. I'm just sick of these referees. I really am. Anyway, shout out to y'all for being in the stream. Thank you, Tasha. Much love. Appreciate you. This what a hell of a birthday gift, man. I had my sons spent they gave me a birthday song that was super cool, man. They sing happy birthday to you, but it was a good day until we got to this damn game. Let me tell you something. But anyway, Shout out to you guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the well wishes. Much love. Appreciate you, Jake Cobb, Slim, Troy. Big ups to y'all, man. I see you, DJ, and everybody. We got Lexxah in the building along with me. Lex, welcome on in. Listen,
Hey,
you
what's
got to
going on?
explain what's going on, Queen. You gonna have
Happy
to.
birthday. I'm sorry we couldn't give you a W, on today, on
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, Lex, this is to me. Talk to me about this here, man. Make this make sense to me. Is
Ugh,
this to me doesn't make sense at all. How are the officials, and these are different staffs that we've seen come here, but the calls, I
yeah,
mean, these egregious non-calls, them holding the whistle,
yeah.
not giving the foul. It's just out of, and then it just escalated. And that brawl, I blame that on the
Yes,
referees.
I do too. I do too.
Take it
I
away,
do
Lex.
too. Um, this game got out of hand. But first let me speak on the positive part. The Pales came to play today. They came to play. They played they started off slow. I think obviously it's a back to back, but for this to be a back to back, them boys came out and played. They played. They played with an edge. They played with a lot of energy. They came with a lot of fight, a lot of intensity. This is what they need. I wish they would have had this type of energy and intensity in that killer. Like they were they weren't pushovers. They were not pushovers. And I'm glad that they had you know, they stood up for themselves. They had each other's back. But this is the type of the energy that I wish they would have been playing with all season. But they played with it today. And I definitely that was unmatched because they weren't going down without a fight. And that was really beautiful. Um, to your point, Big Q, it's crazy because I officiate myself. I officiate on 3 different levels up to middle school, and I've officiated on the college level. But this right here, this is a different beast, man. This is a different beast because I understand the officiator's point of view, but what they did in these last 2 games, because the calls were so lopsided. They were very lopsided. Um, as far as with that brawl, uh, it wasn't about the Kevin Love foul. That was a good foul. That was he wrapped him up. That was a normal foul. It wasn't a flagrant. What made it bad is the fact that I'm sorry. I was about to say something, but let me stop myself. What made it bad is that they hadn't been making calls at all. There were so many missed calls. And it's like, yeah, like Zion gets the dude is number 2 in the league as far as points in the paint behind Giannis. And the dude gets contact all the time, blocking fouls on the arm. It kind of made me upset when he went in the last 2 plays and Antonio Daniels and Joel were like, yeah, those were, those were clean blocks. No, they were not. Because someone came on his backside and blocked the shot from behind, but that wasn't before he was fouled like 3 times before. That's what this is a huge problem. It's a huge problem because the thing is Zion's not doing anything wrong. We want Zion to attack. The dude is a great attacker. And not only that, he's not hunting for fouls. He's getting fouled. He's getting contact. And the thing is, they're not being called. It's not about his size or anything. A foul is a foul. Like, I don't understand. You shouldn't even be looking at how powerful he is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If he's fouled, he's fouled. Like, the way Hawk was shooting, and I'm glad he really got a lot of opportunities tonight. Hawk needs more opportunities because let me tell you something. If he had been playing more consistently, those shots would have been knocking. He would have been knocking those shots down. I'm really confident with that. But the way he was shooting, if that was Steph and he was undercutted like at his legs, they would have called that without question. Without question. Things like that is how guys get hurt. That's how guys get hurt. That's how the game gets out of hand when you're not making the calls that should be called. Not because, like it's supposed to be, you're supposed to give me something. No, dog. You're supposed to call the game. That's your job. Call the game. And stop swallowing the whistle on one end. Nobody respects you because the thing is, you're one-sided. Officiating is not about being perfect. Officiating, and here we go again, Big Q. It's my C word. It's my C word. It's about consistency. Nobody's going to get mad at a ref or yell at a ref or talk about how where your glasses at, ref. Nobody's going to say that to you if you're calling the game consistently. If you're going to call it on one end, I'm going to get math with it. You reciprocate it on the other end. That's the whole purpose. If you do that, no one's going to get on you. People are going to disagree with calls. But if you're consistent on making a charge on one end, then you make it on the other end. If you're going to call when somebody goes up for a shot and he gets the arm, then you do that on the other end. If the hand is a part of the ball, then make it a part of the ball on the other end. That's the whole point of officiating. That's what they teach you in training. It's about consistency. You're gonna miss calls. That comes with it. I miss calls when I'm officiating elementary and middle school. But the thing is, you know why nobody says nothing to me? Because I make the consistent call from one end to the other. And it's the same thing on the pro level. It doesn't change. Somebody's gonna get hurt out there. Somebody's gonna get hurt. And really, I was so bothered by it. I wanted somebody to just take the ball and just sharpshoot that ball at one of the refs' heads. That's really how I felt. Just take the head off with the basketball. And I know that's like not professional or keeping, staying poised, but that's how pissed off I was. I mean, just putting myself in that situation. I'm a competitor. I'm working my butt off. I'm attacking the basket. And the thing is that I know everybody wants to say, well, Zion should, get his midi together and his 3-point shooting. I get that. But let me tell you something. Attacking is what we want. That's a good thing. We shouldn't be saying, oh, well, Zion needs a midi or he needs a jumper because the refs aren't doing their job. That's not why he needs a midi. It's the reason behind it. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that Zion doesn't need a mid-range or a 3-point shot. I'm saying the reason why he needs it. And many a times I see a lot of fans, they talk about, oh, Zion, he needs a mid-range. You're saying that only because when he goes inside, the refs are not doing their job. That's not Zion's fault. That's not the reason why he needs a midi. And I think that needs to be clarified because the thing is that, you want to be on the attack. That's how you get the defense on their heels. That's how people get open. You know, it's just this is upsetting. Look, Spoelstra is a good coach. The Heat are a good team. I actually like the Heat. They're very disciplined. They have a strong identity. This was a really good team. And you know what? The Pels stepped up to the challenge as far as going toe to toe with this team. What really hurt this team though is and I hate the fact that they talk about integrity. You know, you can't challenge what the refs or say anything what the refs are not doing correctly because it's challenging the integrity of the game. Let me tell you something. Look, if you're not calling the game with integrity, then how can you say that the integrity is being challenged? That makes absolutely no colorful words sense. It doesn't make sense. You've already compromised the integrity of the game because it's lopsided. You're not making those calls. You are not guiding the game. You are not mediating. You're not mediating the game correctly. Something has to be done. And this has been happening all year. And now the games are getting more meaningful. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna say something because the thing is, if you're not calling the game with integrity, then don't come back to me and say, oh, you can't say anything about the refs because that compromises the integrity of the game. Well,
Lex,
then, hey, you gotta change that because the definition of that is not correct.
yeah, I often it's I understand people making mistakes, and I agree with what you're saying. I'm just gonna keep it a buck 15, which I think that a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing from the the NBA officials, and I'm watching across sports, and I see the same problem with a lot of it, especially in the NBA. The NBA issue is not just a stupid or lazy or bad crew. We've seen these type of games, probably not as egregious as tonight, but we've seen this type of poorly officiated games from the Pelicans much too often from different staffs. And when that happens, that's a systemic problem. They're all on the same beehive mindset, how they officiating the Pelicans. Zion Williamson is probably the worst officiated player in the NBA.
He
Most of
is.
his points, most of
He
his points
is.
is underneath. And that's why, and you're right, people talk about mid-range shots. That's me saying that because I understand that he'll probably develop a mid-range shot that's pretty good before they actually start calling these fouls correctly for him. And it's like waiting for them to get on task with him getting the hell beat out of him. You know, so I mean, what happened tonight was driven by the fact that this was terribly and poorly called officiated game. It was awful. They don't deserve to get paid tonight, is what I'm saying. That's how bad this was in terms of the disparity of how the referees had a direct negative impact on this game as far as the
They did.
Pelicans are concerned.
And
They
that's what
really
messes
took
everything up. It's like you
right.
can't, it's like, no, you're not supposed to implement yourself in the game. You're supposed to mediate the game. Okay? If it's man, this stuff is not hard, man. It's just not hard.
It
It's
is
just
Lex.
frustrating. It's frustrating that and I understand because I officiate. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's
That's
like, and it kills me. And I actually enjoy officiating. You know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta, man, do they train for this junk?
yes. They train all right, but that's what I'm saying is like from your level, obviously you're trying to get it right. A lot of times, and it's just me. Maybe I got to put the tinfoil hat on for a second because oftentimes when you get a lot of this stuff going on, and I notice all of these trends and all, I pay attention to a lot of this stuff. And when I see a horribly officiated game like this, with how they directed the game, it was in the Pelicans building. You're supposed to get the benefit of the calls anyway. When
They
you're
don't
at
get
home,
home calls, Big
it,
Q.
I
It's
know
like
they
they're
don't.
not
That's
even look, they're not gonna get it on the road,
no,
and they definitely don't get it at home. It's like,
no,
what?
I know.
What?
I know. That's why I
And
was so
look, even that whole thing, and it's funny because it's almost like, they make it appear like the Pelicans don't stay poised, or you know what I'm saying? Like that's not even the whole persona of this team. This team doesn't like do a whole lot of antics like that. They really don't. I mean, even on ESPN, I don't know if anybody else got that, but they the way that they phrased everything, Najee put Jimmy Butler in a chokehold after a hard foul of Zion. And I'm like, really? Because Jimmy Butler put Najee in a chokehold first. And
yeah,
then Najee responded with putting him in a choke. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you all miss that? Like just the wording of that. And Najee doesn't go around doing stuff like that.
absolutely not.
But
But
the
not
way that they phrased that, it made it look like, oh, the Pels, these the type of cats they no, actually, this team isn't. And that's the crazy thing. Man, look, and really this had nothing to do with guys being out. Because guys were playing hard. The
mhm.
guys were playing hard. Real, I mean, you had CJ go out with the sprained ankle. Then look, you had the big man for Miami. He was sitting the bench. He didn't even play. He got kicked out the game. The only player the Heat lost was Jimmy. That's the only player. We lost 3 players, 3 active players. That was CJ, Jose, and Najee. They lost a bench player who hadn't even played in the game yet, and they lost Jimmy.
Right.
It hurt
Oh,
that whole brawl, and it wasn't even initiated by the Pelicans. It hurt us.
that's a
That
narrative, though, Lex. That's what we see. That's a narrative. I mean, it's not hard to tell. I mean, the vision, what happened where all it took is them winding back the tape and looking and seeing exactly what happened. That's a narrative that often the Pelicans are demonized and pressed by ESPN. They always look for ways to kind of throw negative press at the Pelicans for whatever
oh
reason
man,
they
Big
believe
Q,
that they
Big
believe that
Q.
that is attention getting.
That's not to mention, brother Stephen A. Smith had to come out and say something.
What did he say? Because I just played a little skit right there of him with his
Oh,
1.5 points. And it's
oh,
totally.
talking about Zion, because the
I might
Pelicans
find it.
social media team responded, and Antonio Daniels, he responded to it too. That dude just needs to close his mouth. He really does. But basically, he was saying, nobody's talking about Zion's game. He mentioned the burgers. He mentioned, just, food. eh, Just the same
Well,
old thing that he mentioned last time. I mean, it was totally sense talking about, the chefs again down in New Orleans. It's been a full day.
well, I mean, it's never a good day to have. Stephen A. Smith is a complete idiot, man. I've exposed him countless times and about a lie, just lying, just outright lying about what's going on with the Pelicans, lying about people saying this, that, and the third. I do not believe any of his sources or whatever he's saying. All the press involved with the that he ever opens his mouth about the Pelicans is always in a negative capacity.
Yeah.
ESPN, we've caught them lying. I told people when they were believing the narrative about Zion and the point guard from Portland don't believe it when all these fake insiders were running in there, picking up, trying to get views and all that. And I told them pay attention to the real insiders,
Yeah.
you know, and
It's
it
a lot
all
of clickbait when it comes to Zion, man. I mean, it's
yeah.
just disrespectful. I mean, and you know what? Nobody else, look, it takes a strong person to deal with what Zion deals with on a regular, you are. I just want to say that. I know people want to say, laziness or he's weak or he's not a leader. Let me tell you something. When this team loses, Zion's at the podium. He's the one that, if things are not going well, he's always up there. He's always taking the questions. I mean, it's like, if you ask me, I just, he's actually showed a whole lot, a lot of leadership, which doesn't get talked about enough. But to be able to take all this stuff and do what he's doing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the dude is playing his butt off. He's slowly but surely getting better. I mean, it's like, there's just so much negativity. He can't get a break. Everything that Zion does is wrong.
Yeah,
You know?
Stephen A. Smith's an idiot. Bottom line, he's a flunky. He's a moron, and he does a lot of stuff against the Pel Nation. ESPN overall is an enemy to the Pelican Nation. I've often said that since I've been doing this. The majority of the articles and the stuff that they do, in terms of the shows, what they do on the Pelicans is 80% negative coverage. A lot of it's aimed at Zion for ratings. So he has no sources. This stuff about burgers and all this stuff, as you could tell, Zion Williamson is in way better shape than he was several months ago. It's just a joke. But anyway, let's go to Willie Green and hear what he has to say post press conference. Here we go.
We were solid. Effort was there. We got down big, clawed our way back into it. And I love what I saw from this group. Just didn't score enough points.
Yeah, I mean, with the back and forth between you guys and the Heat early in the fourth quarter, do you feel like it was your team standing your ground? Did you feel like either side went too far or anything? What did you just think about it?
In terms of?
I guess the overall thing between Najee and Jimmy and Jose and Thomas Bryant.
I thought it was two competitive teams that want to win, and sometimes you're going to have things like that happen. No big deal.
And then kind of the thing that sparked the whole thing was Kevin Love wrapping up Zion. I mean, what did you think about the whistle Zion got in this game? Do you think the whistle is getting to where it needs to be with Zion? What do you see in there?
No, I don't. I don't think he gets a great whistle, and I thought it could have been better.
And I guess what would you like to see the officials do better with Z specifically?
Be consistent. Simple. Be consistent. I won't go too much further than that. Try to keep some money in my pocket if I can, but be consistent across the board.
Well, sometimes a scrum can lead to lifting up your team, right? Because the emotions are out there. But I think also other times it can hurt, right? Where it kind of deflating afterwards. Do you feel like that whole scenario kind of put a dampener or somehow affected to where you guys lost a little bit of focus, weren't able to find your offensive rhythm down the stretch?
No, I don't feel like that at all. I feel like, our group, we stayed together, we played hard, effort was there. We missed shots and opportunities that we would normally knock down. No excuses, but second night of a back-to-back, they're fresh. We'll look at the film, but I love what we did tonight. We came up a little bit short, and those things will happen.
Do you have an update on CJ?
I don't. No update yet.
Hey, Coach, it was kind of like a playoff atmosphere tonight. Zion hasn't played in a playoff game. Do you think it was kind of good for him to experience that tonight? Like the physicality, the no calls, them playing boxes and elbows against him. Is that good for him to see?
It was. It was a good overall test for our team in general, but especially for Z. The more games that he can play in this like this, the more he'll adapt. Our team will adapt. Like I said, two teams that are tough nose, hard playing teams, and give them credit. They came out with the win.
It's like a common nomenclature that is a make or miss lead, or is it just schematically you wanted to do something different, where guys just didn't knock down shots, or hey, we probably should have did this here? Was there any moments there?
No, I mean you look at the stats across the board. We shot the ball 104 times to their 82. So we had plenty of opportunities and 37% from the field. Tough shooting night for us, tough scoring night for us. Our defense was solid, but we got to be more balanced on the offensive end, and we didn't put it in the basket tonight.
Coach, obviously you wanted to see this team have some fight. I don't think you meant that literally, but just seeing them be able to bounce back and get through that adversity, what does that say about the growth that they've had and the particular aspect of punching back metaphorically?
It's great. It's great to see our team continue to rise to the moments. And, we got down early, and we've seen a few games this season where we've played teams like that, where we get down and it gets away from us. But I love the maturity of this group to stay together, understanding we're not making shots, but we can guard, we can have effort plays. And it got us back in the game. We fell a little short down the stretch, but you can build on moments like this.
And obviously there was separation with the teams, and we could see that you were talking with them. What were you telling them while things were trying to get cooled down during the moment?
I keep that between the team and myself.
Bam down the stretch really took over. Just what did you see from him? And I mean, I guess how was he able to take over kind of down the stretch?
They threw the ball to him, in the post, mid post, elbow, and he hit a couple big shots. So that's what players like Bam, that's what they do. They put the team on their shoulders and they try to carry him down the stretch. I thought we did a great job of contesting, but he hit some tough ones.
To that point of fight and watching a team like them that's been to the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA championship twice in the last 4 years or whatnot, can you learn anything from kind of how they played down the stretch too, as far as with your club and its fight as well down the stretch?
Yeah, for sure. You can always go back and watch the tape and take some things from that game. But, my focus is really on our team, not what they did, our squad, focusing on what we can control and go from there. All right. Thank you.
All right, there go Willie, keeping it simple and keeping it milquetoast. There go Willie. All right, and I left that comment on the board for Slim. I want to see Willie get mad, but Willie say he's trying to keep some money in his pocket. So keeping some money in his pocket, that's what Willie trying to do there. So,
It's not about the game.
Nah, Willie said you heard him. You heard what he said.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep some money in my pocket. I ain't trying to. Y'all trying to get a fine. I'm trying to get a loan, trying to get this paper.
No,
it's
Tramal, it ain't no apology. They just need to call the game. Apology don't mean nothing if you don't have action behind it. That means you ain't apologetic for what you did. And that's what the problem is. I don't want you to apologize to me. Dog, you need to call the game right. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, man, it's just Willie. Let's go through some of the stats here, Lex. Let's kind of jump into the stats right here and go into
I do
it.
want to say, I wanted to comment real quick on what he said, though.
Okay.
That last statement bothered me. As far as, is there anything that you can learn from a Miami Heat team that has been to the finals twice within the last 4 years? And he said he just wants to focus on his team. That's not good. That's not good. Dude, you were out coached, okay? Let's because there's a whole lot that you can learn. You got to be more disciplined. You know what Spoelstra did? Spoelstra put the ball in Bam's hands. But you know what else he was also doing? He was guarding the best player on the team as well.
That's right. Fronting them.
Zion should have been guarding Bam on that other end. I say that because does anybody remember the Clippers game? Anybody remember who Zion was guarding?
Yep.
What assignment did he take on?
Said he had Leonard.
He was guarding the best player on the Clippers team in Kawhi Leonard. And he did a solid job. He did a great job against him.
Did a great job against him. Yeah, he
He
really
really
did.
did. And nobody's even talking about that. And I'm going to talk about it because that you're talking about Kawhi Leonard, who is up for he's in MVP talks. Now, is Kawhi Leonard better than Bam Adebayo?
Yes. I would say that in certain aspects of his game, they're two different players, but they're two great players. But all the way around, I would have to give it to Leonard, man.
Hey, let them go at each other. Let them go at each other. I wish they would have did that. They, Spo called some really good plays for the Heat. The Pels didn't have any. And again, whatever play was called, it wasn't creative enough. There was no imagination. I was looking at the plays that they were running, and I'm like, man, that was a beautiful play. That was very well executed. Like, dude, you have like coaching problems. There's a lot that you can learn from a team that's very disciplined, that's very well coached. And for you to, say, we're just trying to, what? You're trying to focus on your team? What? What type of answer is that?
That's the answer that keep money in his pocket, Lex.
No, I didn't say about the refs. The refs, saying something about the refs is going to take money out your pocket. There is something that you can learn from this team.
I don't think, man, tonight, man.
Man, that statement tells me you are stubborn and you're not trying to get better. You have to, it's not just the players that have to get better. He's got to get better too.
Oh, yeah, he damn sure got to get better for him to take the step. I mean he's a big part of it.
Because he's my biggest concern. He is my biggest concern.
Yeah, right.
Out of everything that's going on with this team, that man right there is my biggest concern as far as down this stretch.
Yes, indeed. That's really.
And you're telling me there's nothing you can learn. No, we're just gonna focus on Pelicans. I'm gonna focus on my group, and that's what we're focused on, dude. You are not trying to grow. That's what you just said. That was a scapegoat question, or answer, basically saying, look, I'm not trying to grow. I'm not trying to learn from someone who's been there to the finals, who has been a consistent playoff contender year after year, no matter who's hurt, no matter who's available. They've been there. Are you kidding me? I mean, am I wrong for thinking that? I mean, that's the wrong mentality. That's the wrong mentality. That's like a poor man's mentality. Dude, level up. Level up. You can learn a whole lot from a team like this. And as much as haven't we heard many times how the Pelicans are trying to get a culture similar to the Heat? Is that? I mean, haven't we heard that? Griffith said something about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
in the wild.
There's been talks about that. How, we admire the
Yeah, they didn't say that in a
the
while.
but they have said it though.
Yeah, he said that a while ago. I don't know. Right, they did. I don't know what they're doing now. Here go Herb, y'all.
I'm not really a dude to do a lot of talking. Like once my teammates, if you come at my teammates, I'm with my teammates right or wrong.
And I guess just how tough was it during the fourth quarter when you had no CJ, no Dice, no Najee, no Jose, just having so many of your ball handlers not there and trying to execute in the half court?
I mean, I still think we got enough. Like I said, we just missed shots, and they made some tough ones, and that's just a part of the game.
back to the point of like late game situations, like the ball was in your hands. Was it comfortable for you? Was this like something that you can kind of foresee in the future? I know usually it's in CJ's hands late in the game, or it's in Zion's hands. Now it's kind of in yours. Can you feel like you can make a play when the ball's in your hands?
Oh yeah, I mean it wasn't uncomfortable. I was just out, playing basketball, keeping the game simple and trying to make the right reads every possession.
Trey had a rough night tonight. Hawk kind of had a rough night from three as well. What are you telling the guys to kind of keep their confidence up?
I mean, shooter's gonna shoot the ball regardless. I just tell them to keep shooting. I see them shooting every day. I'm playing against them in practice. I'm seeing the work they're putting in, and it's not gonna be overnight. I'm a prime example of it. And they shoot the ball a lot better than I do. So, to struggle, it just comes with it. I just tell them to keep working and keep shooting it.
Did this have the feel of a playoff game? There was a lot of emotion out there tonight.
Yeah, somewhat. And I think it was good, that Hawk got a chance to experience it with so much time left in the game. So I think he got an idea of what, the playoff atmosphere is like. So overall, I think it was a plus for us to get in that environment.
Do you think it was good for Z too, since he's never been in a playoff game?
For sure. But Z's been in the league. He's probably, played in some games of that magnitude, just not in the playoffs. So, yeah, I say it was really good for Z as well.
And you made your first 8 shots of the night. What were you kind of seeing that allowed you to just keep going offense?
Just being aggressive, trying to make the right plays, getting downhill and attacking. I appreciate it.
That's a little hurt right there, man. And I gotta apologize, man. That stinks tonight, man. But anyway, tonight, man, Pelicans. Let's go over some quick stats. I'm gonna get Lexxah in there to kind of chime in on what she heard from our guy Herb, man. It always turns into good scrappy performance. The Pelicans tonight, man, 39 to 104 for 37.5%, 7 of 32 from downtown for 22%, 10 of 13 from the foul line for 77%. They had 54 rebounds tonight in the matchup, 18 offensive rebounds, 20 on the assists, 6 on steals. Were 11 to 7 blocks advantage. Heat, they had only 11 turnovers tonight. Pelicans have doing a pretty decent job of keeping the turnovers down, but failed to make shots. Like Willie said, that's a good point, and that's really what happened in the game. And we look at the poorly efficient because it was obvious. Points in the paint, Pelicans 158 to 46. And you see the fast break points obviously were 18 to 15 by the Heat. And I don't have a stat for the second chance points, but I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. But Lexxah, go ahead and feel free to chime in on what you heard from Herb and some of the statistics before we go into the matchup against the Bulls.
Herb is poised, and obviously, like I stated earlier in the live, the team, for the most part, they came to play. They had a slow start, but it didn't last long. They came back, tied up the game. They were in the game. I mean, the energy was there. The opportunities were there. Yes, they did miss. They did miss shots. But games like this, it is a good game that they, as far as how they played in this game. These are the games that, the type of games that you want to play. Very high energy. The intensity is very high. It's competitive. It's highly competitive. Both teams definitely wanted to win. We just didn't make enough plays. Didn't get enough calls. There's going to be more games like this. So I'm definitely excited about that, just as how intensified it was. And, they competed. And that's something, they gave themselves a chance to win the game. So as far as in that regard, kudos to the team.
Indeed. And I was looking at this right here. Let me play this for y'all, Lex. Check this out. Uh,
Mhm.
check this out.
So I think a lot of your fans really love that term, kind of like "don't poke the bear." Do you think, like, kind of with this tension and the way everything kind of goes down, do you think you'll carry a little bit of that tension into the next game?
Oh, the next time we play them?
Yeah.
I mean, sure. We'll beat them the next time too. We're just a better team. I'm not going to say that they're not a good team, but I don't think this really matters. I think that, when we get them on our home court, it's going to be a different game. I hope that they're healthy, and it's going to be the same outcome.
At some point, this stuff got to start adding up sooner or later for the Pelicans, man.
Yeah.
We just a better team. We just a better team, says Jimmy Graham. Jimmy damn Butler. I'm sorry, but Butler put it on. I mean, listen, man.
Again,
Draymond Green talking this stuff.
Yep. I was
and-
about
and
to say that.
It's the Draymond Green effect, and Jimmy Butler. And at some point, the Pelicans got to they got to respond to this type.
It's a disrespect, man. It's a disrespect. But notice when I said the Pels have not been playing like this all season. They haven't been playing with this type of energy, with this type of intensity. Like, if you ask me, this is probably the most energy, the most fight that they've had all season. Because I mean, just think at the start of the season, the energy wasn't there. It's like, do y'all know the season has started? Like, it took some time for them to realize, okay, hey, let's come on out here and play from the jump. We struggled, just getting off to good starts. But it's things like this where, see, the Heat, they've played games like this. The Pelicans haven't. It's a very small number, and to this magnitude, and I know it's the most recent game, this is the most energy, like very, very competitive as far as going at it that they've been. But we have to keep doing it. We got to keep doing it. Like, this is something like, this is how you prepare for the playoffs. That's what regular season is for. All these games are preparation for the playoffs. And basically, if you're practicing during the games, not competing at a high level, like consistently, stuff is going to catch up with you. It's not like it's a switch that turns on for the team. But yeah, I mean, what Jimmy Butler said definitely gave me those Draymond Green vibes. And they're bold. They're bold. I've said many a times, man, this team is being disrespected. This team is being disrespected. And it's like, man, every single time you step on this court, you got to send a message. Because the thing is, you got to make people like Draymond Green, people like Jimmy Butler. And for the most part, they bat that life. They play like it. And it's been hey man, you gotta earn your respect, man. You gotta send a statement. You gotta make a statement. Gotta make a statement. Because it's comments like this, I don't forget comments like this. And they shouldn't either.
I mean, that's the whole thing. But at some point, it has to resonate, because this is not people. I mean, you're talking about championship players that played at a high level consistently over years. Draymond Green talking about it. Now you got Jimmy Butler talking about it. Pelicans have to respond, because it's speaking to them, as their heart is speaking to them about what they need to establish to be one of the teams.
Within a week.
Miami is has that respect. Golden State has that respect. You might not like either one of these guys, but you can't discount all the stuff that they're saying. So let me play a little bit of Zion, Lex, before we preview the matchup against the Chicago Bulls. This is what Zion had to say about what happened with Kevin Love and the rest of the stuff. Here we go.
Okay.
No, K-Love, I wasn't tripping about K-Love, because he actually protecting me on my fall. So I just kind of just got up and was walking away, and I think all of a sudden I see Butler kind of lunging towards Najee. So I'm trying to get there like, yo, relax. Like, what's going on? I think a minute kind of went by, and all of a sudden Brian and Jose kind of getting at it, and it was a lot of stuff going on. But when I watched the film, I was like, okay, you can like clearly see how it happened. But I mean, like I said before, it's hard not to love shit like that. It's just competitive. It's people competing, people riding for their teammates. So that's all that is.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, that's what Zion had to say about the whole situation. Didn't look like to me that Kevin Love was trying to help him on the fall. Looked like Kevin Love grabbed him across his body and looked like he took a bounce. I don't know if he might have bounced. Zion bounced on his head, might have forgot the incident, but it damn sure didn't look like he braced him for a fall to me. Looked like Kevin Love was worried about the goddamn ball and not Zion crashing down to the floor. But anyway, go ahead, Lexxah. You wanted to comment on that?
Oh, I mean, it was a good foul. I mean, guys wrap each other up, but it wasn't that. It's what led up to that. That's what threw everything off. Yeah, they finally they made the call, but you know, with the fact that they weren't making calls, they were very lopsided. And then it's like, you know, to me that it's disrespect when you finally make a call, but it's like, dude, you know, there's been similar calls to this. Not just like that, but dude's getting sandwiched. Y'all ain't calling nothing. I think it was just like, you know, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, I think it was more so about that. It was more so about that. It wasn't necessarily about, you know, Kevin Love, you know, fouling. I mean, obviously Zion went down, and, you know, having each other's back is a good thing. But it's like, hey, man, you all let this game get out of hand. If you were calling it fair, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that would have happened. I don't think that response would have been there. But because it was so lopsided and the refs let it get out of hand, that was on them. So I don't really put that on the players. I put that on the refs because of poor mediating.
Indeed, Lex. I was playing it back, and you can, and for the bastards at ESPN that want to write these wrong articles and try to paint narratives, right here you can see Jimmy pushes Najee, hand on his chest, and hand slides up under Najee's, you know, his chin, right to his neck.
He initiated all of that. And then the angle, I think this angle is very interesting to me too, because it's like, okay, well, where's the angle where you see Butler's face? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We're seeing Butler, the back of his head, but the angle of it all is very interesting to me too. It's like, where are all the other angles? Because they're only showing one angle.
Yeah, he initiated
it. See it, but you know, people just want to see what they want to see. But Jimmy did initiate that. He initiated all of that stuff. He pushed Najee, and he put his hand around his neck. He started that stuff. Najee didn't do that.
And this is the frame, the freeze frame of Jimmy Butler. His hand was on his chest and it slid to Najee's neck. Right now, Butler's hand is on Najee's neck, and Najee reacts. And you can see he gets pushed right there. Jimmy hands pops back, and then Najee does what he did to him, which is bam. You can see his hand right there, and he pushes him back. So I mean, yeah, it's you're right, and there'll probably be another, or maybe there won't be another advantage of it right there, but that's right there. You can see Butler first walks right up to him as Najee's walking away. Najee stops to defend himself. What you want, don't play with me. Hand on his chest to his neck right here, and then he gets a little push, and then you can see his hands open back to him, to the Butler. I keep calling damn man Graham. And pushes him back, and then this is the scrum starts to get, as you said, Najee's like, man, don't play with me. I'm not that dude. Don't play with me. But anyway, let's get into this one, Lex. It's very, very interesting night. Bulls up next for the Pelicans. This is a Sunday afternoon game. The Bulls, man, are on a 2-game losing streak. They're 26-30, 11-17 on the road. The Pelicans fall to 34-23. Man, what can I tell you? The Bulls won the first matchup with the Pelicans in early December, 124-118. This is the second of the 2 games. Let's talk about the Pelicans. After a tough loss to the Miami Heat, we need to respond in kind and get the Bulls win. What do you think, Lex?
Yeah, I mean, look, all these games should have a rollover feel, and never don't get complacent. You know, again, like these last two games, they've been playing with more energy, more of a sense of urgency. It doesn't stop just because you're playing the Bulls. You got to rack up these games. You got to rack them up. And so, obviously, the energy, the team got off to a slow start in this game. Don't do that with the Bulls. You get a day of rest, a day of break, all that stuff. Come back on Sunday with the same mentality that you had, obviously in the last 3 quarters. You need to come with that same type of energy, that same type of intensity, and put it on them. Because again, the goal is to get better. The team has to start strongly and more aggressively, really start conditioning themselves to play at this type of level and more. Don't like, because it's time to build better habits. You have to. I mean, there's only 25 games left now. Only 25 games left. So, you got to bring it. It's not something that like, okay, well, we're going against the Bulls. Let's kind of relax a little bit. No, do not relax. Don't do that. Because let me tell you something, and I'm gonna keep coming back to this. Those last 11 games, that's gonna be the telltale for the Pelicans, because golly, though the last 11 games of the season are brutal. They are brutal. So you got to bring it. And the teams like this, is great to bring it because you have a chance to work on those things that you need to get better at. And that's how you need to look at these games. Whoever, if they're below 500, if they're in the play-in picture, if they're not in the play-in or playoff picture, hey man, you got to come out and play and ball and work on that stuff that you need to work on. So when you get up against better teams, playoff contending teams, you'll be ready. You'll be more ready than not.
Yeah, we got to get this win against the Bulls, man, to bounce back on this one. This is a very distasteful game, man. I wasn't pleased. Although the effort by the Pelicans, defensively speaking, it was an entertaining game, but in terms of the referees and it just unprofessional style of officiating really just discolored the game for me. It really was awful officiated game and benefited the Bulls, man. And I mean the goddamn Heat tonight. And then on top of the fact that they got the W, and then Jimmy Butler comes with the disrespect to the Pels, along with Draymond Green. We mentioned him. So it's time, man. It's these 25 games remaining in the NBA season, man. We just got to keep on, got to improve, man. We got to improve. We have to improve, man. We really do. All right. So anyway, with that being said, fam, shout out to you guys. Jay Black dropped some really good comments in the chat. He says the Heat been waiting for us for 9 days. They haven't played since the break. We played back-to-back game against the Heat, and even though we were at home, he also mentions that the Heat was prepared for all of our go-to guys. Can't wait to see them on even terms. Shout out to you, Jay Black. Jerome says, yeah, but with no CJ or BI, I love the guys' effort and not letting anyone bully them. Indeed. I agree with you. The heart there was just like a lot of stupidness with these referees. And you're right. We look at some of the statistics dealing with the matchup, and yeah, our guys in terms of our shooting wasn't there. was not really impressed with Trey Murphy playing 32 minutes and only having 5 points. We need with
Yeah.
BI, CJ not playing. Somebody need to step up and score.
You
Somebody
know
needs.
what?
And Trey was 2 of 12 from the field, 1 of 7 from downtown. He had 5 points and a -15 on his +9. So you're 23 from Zion, 19 from Herb. Valachunas had 12 and 10. And Trey, like I said, 32 minutes, 5 points for Trey, 10 off the bench from Larry. Jose gave you 5 and 14 from Hawkins, even though he was 4 of 17 from the field and 3 of 12 from downtown. But Lex, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead and do your thing.
Oh no, you were good. Yeah, down the stretch, I found it interesting. As much as Jayhawk hasn't gotten consistent playing time, down the stretch, it was, him and Zion as far as, trying to get points on the board. I know Nance, he was successful, but I was like, man, like that's actually supposed to be Trey. You know what I'm saying? Because Hawkins doesn't consistently play all the time. So I just think that's kind of interesting. I don't know what to think about Trey, man. Like this was really one of those games where he really needed to step it up. And, again, for him to get more playing time than consistently than Jay Hawk, it was Jay Hawk who the team was going to attempt those 3-pointers or those shots down the stretch. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Like, okay, is that you see what, do you understand what I'm saying? Like that
Oh
was just
yeah.
kind of weird.
Yeah, he was the guy that was running offense through it, and Trey was just standing up on the sideline. I mean, standing on side there while Jayhawk was moving around trying to get his shot off. Yes, I definitely witnessed that. I was
Yeah,
two,
that
two
was a
things.
weird.
Lex. The
Huh?
That's two things. The you made mention of the fact that they both were I guess it wasn't no surprise with everybody being out. He was forced to put him there. To have
Mhm.
two of his best shooters out on the court at the same time. But yeah, I seen him running it through Hawk as opposed to Trey, and because to me, Trey, Hawk had it going on. Trey had nothing going on tonight. I
Yeah.
mean, he had opportunities we could have attacked when he didn't want to attack, and it was just a weird night for him. 32 minutes, 5 points is unacceptable, especially when two of your big guns is missing. You got to score. You got to help the team out. Whether it's shooting or out, if your shot ain't falling from outside, take it inside. He can do that. Just didn't see enough of that, and maybe the defense of the Miami Heat rattled him a bit. I seen him close doors on opportunities when he wanted to drive. So yeah, it was not his night tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, DB said Hawk has been in the bright lights. He just won the NCAA championship. But that is true as far as Hawk. He doesn't shy away from the bright lights.
No, he
That,
really does.
he does, rise to the occasion, but he is still a rookie. And, that's what we need from our, guys like Trey. Obviously, Herb, he stepped up. Zion, I mean, he stepped up. But it's like, Trey, I really feel like he's kind of like the X factor. Like we have to have his production. We got to have his production. But
Right.
yeah, that was just weird how hey, the guy that we don't play consistently. We're gonna have you and Zion, kind of work off each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
all right. Kind of weird, but man.
That's weird in a good way, though, Lex. I mean, for him to
Yeah.
operate that, you got to at some point they got to recognize the guy can shoot the damn ball, man. They
But it's
got to.
like next game, it's like, hey man, it's got to start making sense, consistently though. And that's the only thing with that, um but I don't know. It might have been a good thing for Willie to try out Matt Ryan. I know somebody mentioned that earlier. To put
Yeah,
him in to see if he could get anything, because what was hurting us was the shooting. We
Right.
weren't really getting consistent shooting Obviously, once Najee and Jose were ejected from the game, we lost that extra energy, that extra boost, to get up and down the floor. Um, and that was the compensation. But once we lost that, we didn't have anything to compensate for that. The compensation would have been the shooting. So it would probably would have been nice for Willie. Hey man, look, we need to try something different. You know what I'm saying? Matt Ryan, he can shoot.
Yeah, that was interesting. Not seeing Matt Ryan get an opportunity to get out there and get some minutes with all that stuff going on with the Pelicans, because he most certainly brings that hustle mentality, and he's another shooter on the floor. So I
Mhm.
mean, I that was interesting. Seeing Jeremiah Robinson Earl out there getting some time was pretty good too. After him getting this deal, but I just think at the end of the day, people mention our coach. It's a number of things that you can kind of look at with this band, but in the end, all I can say is we need better. We my goodness, man. What can I say?
We got to be more disciplined.
I mean, we talked about high IQ basketball, Lex, in the preview for this one. I
Yeah.
mean, high IQ basketball, what you need against this team. Like in the game when Jimmy Butler was playing, Jimmy Butler has the uncanny ability to be able to step in. Like when the Pelicans were having the momentum going for him in the matchup, Jimmy Graham, he was sitting on the bench. They put Jimmy in the game, and Jimmy made offensive plays for him. He made some anything you need from him at the right time. He gives it to the Heat,
Yeah.
especially in tonight's matchup. Like when they needed a stop, he gave them a stop. When they needed a basket, he made a basket. If he needed to facilitate a shooter or take advantage of a mismatch, it was a time when the Pelicans did a dumb switch match. I'm my thing on the switch everything mentality is you don't switch unless you benefit from the switch. You don't switch into a disadvantaged situation that helps your adversary. You don't switch.
Yeah.
Pelicans did that. They do it time to time, and it's not intelligent to do that. And I'm saying when you playing the Heat, because you got Eric Spoelstra there, and you got guys there that'll shoot your damn lights out. And those guys, man, my goodness, Duncan Robinson, hands in their face. These guys shooting
Yeah.
rainbow threes in their face. I mean, they came to play. So I
Yeah.
mean, in the end, high IQ basketball is needed when you're playing teams like this. But go ahead, Lex. We're gonna go ahead and give you the floor before we close out.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just think on defense, like just playing straight up defense, sometimes it wasn't needed to switch. It's like, hey, you still have room to recover on your man. You don't need to switch in that instance. I think Najee made a switch with Jayhawk, and Jayhawk was on Jimmy. Jimmy is a big dude compared to Jayhawk. That wasn't
That's
a
right.
smart move, and Najee, he could have easily recovered. He could have easily recovered. So and then he kind of left Jayhawk on no man's land. Things like that, you have to be more sound. It's like and Najee should know that. Dude, you're a defensive guy. You're known for your your defense. That's what you're known for this team. Jayhawk is a shooter. I know like Jayhawk can play defense, but to go one-on-one with a guy like Jimmy Butler, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I'd rather Jayhawk, play, weak side help or on the line up the line, like with the one pass over, stuff like that. But we were playing too much on weak side. Too much on weak side. I'm like, can you all please stop doing that? That really bugs me. It really bugs me when they play too much on weak side, because it's too much ground to cover for the pass is way faster um uh going cross court. If you're playing too much on weak side, it's going to get there a whole lot faster than the actual defender. So you can't play too much. You got to read the situation more. But that was bothering me because they got a whole bunch of those on tonight
Yeah,
from behind the arc.
That's what I
But
was saying.
yeah,
That high IQ basketball when you play the Miami Heat. Like I said, it's the hustle is one thing. This defense, like even with Jimmy Butler was out of the game, you still
yeah,
seen the Miami Heat playing defense when they lost. They still was playing defense. They still was challenging shots. Now they were
yeah.
fouling the hell out of our guys, but they still were out there playing defense. It made it very difficult for the Pelicans to put up anything in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. It was like what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
couldn't score.
We could
They
have went to the line though. I mean, because they were committing a lot of stuff, but
Man, they was hacking the hell out of them. They was
I
killing them.
mean,
They were
we shouldn't
committing
have had
hard
a rut like that. We would have got some at the line if they would have been calling the game correctly. And I know that's hearsay and all that stuff, but I mean, we all saw them fouls. But Duncan Robinson, oh my gosh. I can't believe how they were defending him. Like this dude does nothing but shooting.
Yep.
You have to play on him. The dude is slow. He's not going to beat you off the dribble. You all are quicker than him. He wants to shoot. He doesn't want to drive the lane. So force him to put the ball on the floor because that's his Achilles heel. That was killing me. Because Duncan Robinson at no point in time should be beating you. He should never beat you. Close him out like hard. Run him off the line. He doesn't have anything else in his cards. He really does not. I've watched plenty of games with Duncan Robinson to know he doesn't have it like that. He's very, very, very one-dimensional. That was just really frustrating to see that, he got too many opportunities against us, and that should never happen.
Yeah, KYP, Lex, KYP. That is they gotta read their scouting reports.
Yeah.
Homework. That's what this comes down to. Well, the Miami Heat did their homework tonight. They got the victory of the Pelicans, break up our little winning streak we had going on. They get the W 106 and the 95. The Pelicans will be back in action Sunday afternoon against the Chicago Bulls in the Smoothie King Center. Like I said, the Bulls currently on a 2-game losing streak. Hopefully the Pelicans can get back on the right side of things Sunday afternoon. So we'll return then. Listen, I thank all the family members for jumping in the stream for tonight. Appreciate you guys. Y'all please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. It helps the stream out. Once again, the Pelicans go down tonight, but we will be back. The Pelicans got the rebound. 25 games are remaining, fam. We got 25 games left. Most certainly was a playoff style atmosphere tonight. You can't get away from that. But in the end, we just fell short on the wrong side of this thing. So we'll jump out of this. Much love to the fam. We're gonna holler at y'all on the next one. Go Pels.
Go Pels.
Show us the edge. Yes. The chip on the shoulders, the fight and the passion that comes from within. Whoa. Try to win on every level. Yeah. Expectations high. Gotta show them you can fly. Play harder, better, smarter. Baby, put the league on notice. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Play with the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah. Show me the edge, yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to